Hello, and thank you for your interest in volunteering with Project Wildlife. This online orientation is going to give you a look into the San Diego Humane Society as a whole, and then we will talk about Project Wildlife and the volunteer opportunities we have available for you. At San Diego Humane Society, all of our services that we offer the community fall into three main categories. The first is animals. In addition to rehabbing wildlife for release back into the wild, we are a temporary home for homeless pets. These animals come to us through owner relinquishment as strays, through humane law and cruelty cases, and also through transfers from other organizations. We have an initiative called G2O, or Getting to Zero. This is our commitment to zero euthanasia for healthy and treatable animals in San Diego. This initiative is now county-wide throughout San Diego. We're able to do this through transfers and transports from other shelters and rescue groups, increasing our adoptions through adoption promotions, reaching more animals and people through education and outreach, and also our robust spay and neuter initiative. The second category is education. This is really in everything that we do and is a part of every volunteer role that we have. Even if you are focused on animal care, you will likely have guest and community interaction. Throughout our education programs, we offer opportunities for children and adults. It is important to make the public aware of how to care for their animals, and that training is always available as far as domestic animals go. We also have a busy schedule with our Project Wildlife education programs, which focus on coexisting with wildlife, human impacts on wildlife, and education on what to do when you find a sick or injured wild animal. We do also offer a ton of free and reduced cost opportunities for volunteers. An example of this is our Wake Up with Wildlife series, which takes place on the first Saturday of every month at our San Diego campus. These workshops are half price for volunteers to attend. Lastly, we have a few different aspects that are focused on community response. Our humane law enforcement team protects animals in our community from neglect and abuse. This includes abused wild animals. We are also involved with investigations and rescuing animals during disasters. We have a specialized team called Animal Rescue Reserve, or ARR, that is trained to assist in disaster situations like going behind fire lines and even swift water rescues. We also have our PAWS program, which is the safety net program of the Humane Society that helps people keep their pets by providing essential services and support to low-income pet families all over San Diego County. In addition to delivery of pet food and supplies like flea medication, the in-home delivery service provides vouchers to assist pet owners with vet bills, transportation to vet appointments, and dog walking for homebound or hospitalized clients. To give you an idea of how many locations we have, let's walk through them. Our San Diego campus, which is located in San Diego on Gaines Street. This includes our Behavior Center, our Humane Law Enforcement offices, and our Project Wildlife Care Center, which is located on Sherman Street just a few blocks away. We also have our Oceanside and Escondido campuses in North County and animals out in the community at our neighborhood adoption centers in Petco's and PetSmarts across San Diego. And finally, to give you a glimpse into what our volunteer program looks like organization-wide, more than 5,200 volunteers assist with all aspects of the organization, doing everything from spay and neuter surgeries to pet-assisted therapy visits, from wildlife rehabilitation to dog walking for PAWS clients. Volunteers are donating more than 20,000 hours a month, and we do receive over 500 applications every recruitment cycle from community members who want to help. Without further ado, let's talk more about Project Wildlife. Within Project Wildlife, we have two main focuses, the first being conservation education. We have touched on this a bit already. We do have our own education team made up of one educator and the rest volunteers. They do school programs, community, and corporate events. Many of the programs have more than just human educators, but also wildlife educators. These are our animal ambassadors. All of our ambassadors currently live with the volunteer that handles them. They must receive a special permit and work a certain number of hours each year to maintain this permit. These ambassadors are crucial to education and conservation efforts because they allow people to form a deeper connection. Also, wildlife rehabilitation, which is our main focus, to rehabilitate sick, injured, and orphaned animals. We will see more than 10,000 animals this year. We have 10 staff members and just around 330 active volunteers who make this all possible. Since we are working with wildlife and the state of California owns wildlife, we are very heavily regulated by state and federal agencies. The first one is the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. This is a state agency that protects all wildlife and sets standards and protocols for their rehabilitation. All wildlife that we rehab fall under their rules and regulations, and they are heavily involved with the mammals that we rehabilitate. The second one is the United States Department of Agriculture. This is a federal agency that oversees our education animal permits. The third one is the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. This is also a federal agency that protects wildlife, sets standards and protocols for the rehabilitation, and they are also the authors of the Federal Migratory Bird Treaty Act, so they're mainly involved with the migratory birds we rehabilitate and display for education purposes. Let's take a look at some of the animals we care for at Project Wildlife. I hope you like birds because about 75% of our patients are birds. The other 25% are mammals. And again, these numbers can change yearly and they're only averages. Of the 10,000 plus animals we see, our goal is to rehab as many as we can. Our success rate is around 40%, which is high for the industry and national average in wildlife rehabilitation. It is really important to remember that 100% of the animals that come to us are injured, and we are here to give them a second chance. And with every animal that comes through our front door, we have one ultimate goal, and that is release. This video is raw footage of one of our recent releases, so it's not actually available for the public to see. You're getting a behind the scenes look. This is Christina and Kyle, and they're volunteers on our Raptor team, education team, and transport team. They've been with Project Wildlife for about 5 years. They have an aviary in their backyard that houses hundreds of raptors each year to prepare them for release. These are American kestrels being released, and they're our smallest falcon. We normally will see about 100 of these each year. For those we can't save, we have to be a resource for them where we are able to humanely euthanize and stop their suffering. Euthanasia is not an easy decision for anyone, but sometimes it is the humane choice for an animal that is suffering. There are 2 reasons why an animal that comes to us may not be able to be released back into the wild. The first one, they are too sick or too injured and cannot heal. Sometimes they die of natural causes in our care, and sometimes we must make the decision to end their suffering. As Project Wildlife's Care Center is essentially a hospital for wild animals, you will be exposed to scared, stressed, and sick animals. You will also be exposed firsthand to death. This is the unfortunate nature of the work, so you will be prepared to be able to work under pressure in a sometimes fast-paced environment where not all of the animals we care for will survive. There will be times that visibly injured or ill animals will come to our front door and you will be receiving them into our care. All possible considerations are made prior to euthanasia. It's not a quick and easy decision for anyone. Staff handles this procedure and volunteers are never present to witness it or to assist. The second reason is imprinting. This means that the animal has become too used to people and are no longer afraid. If an animal imprints on people, we are legally not allowed to re-release them back into the wild per our permitting agencies. If they cannot survive on their own in the wild due to imprinting, we try to find a placement for them in a zoo or sanctuary. We will also do this if they have an injury that prevents them from surviving in the wild but are not in pain. Remember, Project Wildlife is not a sanctuary, so we have to find outside placement, whether it be another organization or on our education team as an ambassador, considering they meet the federal criteria. We do see emotionally trying cases from time to time. The most important thing to keep in mind is it's okay to be sad. That is normal. But we really want you to be able to see the positive in the work you're doing. We are giving these animals a second chance. Let's talk more about how you can help. The first volunteer role we have is Foundation Assistant. Foundation assistants are volunteers that allow the care center to run smoothly. This role allows volunteers who have never worked in a setting like this to learn all of the foundational tasks that are so important to the animal's health and well-being. No experience is needed for this role. Our second role is the Level 1 Animal Assistant. Animal assistants are responsible for the day-to-day animal care routine. You will be responsible for communicating with the public at our intake door, basic cleaning routines, daily animal husbandry, and special projects as needed. This role does require basic animal experience. The volunteer requirements for these two care center roles are a one-season commitment, which is typically February through October. You can take a break during our off-season if you'd like, but our goal is for you to return the next season. A set weekly shift. Shifts are available 7 days a week and are 3 to 4 hours long. Completion of the training series for your role. The training steps for foundation assistants and animal assistants are to watch the information session, apply for a position, complete a service interview at our care center, a mentorship at our care center, online quiz, set up your weekly shift, and get started in your role. And finally, love, not love. This is really the most unique part about this volunteer role. We are not socializing the animals, and we're strictly there to ensure they are cleaned, fed, and comfortable, as we are their biggest stressors. So while we're working in the care center, we're keeping our voices quiet. Again, we're not socializing at all with the animals, and we're only handling them when we're feeding, cleaning, and medicating them. The last volunteer role is our wildlife transporter role. This role remains the main facilitator between wildlife drop-off locations and the Project Wildlife Care Center. All transporters ensure that all animals are transported to the care center to receive the necessary care and treatment that they need in a timely manner. We have 3 routes that are covered: Route 1, Oceanside, Route 2, Escondido, and Route 3, Imperial Beach in South County. Transporters are on a set biweekly schedule, and the timing for the shifts is flexible. Many of our volunteers will actually do a care center role as well as join the transport team since it is flexible. The volunteer requirements for the transporter role are a one-season commitment, again typically February through October, a set weekly or biweekly shift with flexible timing on your scheduled day, completion of the training series for the wildlife transporter role, which is to watch the information session, apply for a position, complete a service interview in our care center, and then to attend the scheduled classroom training for transport, a 1-hour wildlife handling session at Project Wildlife, and this is also where you will pick up your supplies, and then you will get started on your weekly or bi-weekly shift. This also requires the use of your own vehicle and gas, and a Project Wildlife issued transport permit, which you must have on you at all times when transporting. While you will begin volunteering in the care center, you will have the opportunity to continue to learn and specialize. We have many exciting specialized and advanced volunteer opportunities at Project Wildlife for volunteers that have gained necessary experience in the care center. Animal assistants start as level 1 and have the opportunity to move up to levels 2 and 3. If you start as a foundation volunteer, you will have the opportunity to apply to move up to a level 1 animal assistant as we have openings in the program, typically after a few months in your role. Baby room volunteers go through specialized training to receive baby room certification, and it's very important that you commit to a set weekly schedule. Education team volunteers present at schools, community, and special events, and these volunteers are working with our ambassador animals. We typically recruit for this program as we have openings. and our satellite care teams, which are volunteer rehabbers that care for wildlife in their own home. This requires species-specific training. So now it's time to ask, is this the right role for you? Is this the right program for you? We have talked a lot about the roles we have available, the reality of the work, the emotional aspects, and the growth opportunities. So it's up to you to decide if this is the right program for you. All of this information today should help you decide where you fit in and how you can help. Our goal is to have a team of volunteers that understand who we are and want to support us for many years to come. So if that is you, fantastic. If you decide it's not for you, that's okay. There are many great organizations in San Diego that need help, and we can help to get you connected with them. There are also other ways to get involved here at San Diego Humane in our shelter program, through foster, events, and do-it-yourself projects from home. So your next steps will be to apply. Again, ask yourself, is this the right fit? Watch for our email and application to apply for your preferred role. We will then review the applications and invite the best fits to our service interview. You will come to complete your service interview, which will be a tour of the care center, a duties overview, and a question and answer session. We will then select those who best fit our needs, typically around 100 to 150 new volunteers. You will then receive an email offer for a specific volunteer position. You will do some online training at home, a mentorship in the care center, and then you will have optional extended learning and step-up classes during your time at Project Wildlife, and always, always, always learning on every shift. Thank you for joining our online information session. We will end with a short video to give you a glimpse into the work you can be a part of. We look forward to meeting you soon.